He's not doing himself any favors, to say the least. That's crazy. Can't have Harry dying in only the second book in the series. Hi there, welcome back to today's video. It's an exciting one because if you didn't know, I have started towards the end of 2022 reading the Harry Potter series for the first time ever in my life. So growing up, I wasn't allowed to read the series or watch the movies, of course. And so I decided I want to know what all the hype was about for, all my life. So I will link to the first video here if you want to check that out. But today I'm going to be taking on the second book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. We'll see how it goes. I know it's just over 300 pages, so it's not very long. The first one I ended up loving, 5 stars. I thought it was so cute. Such like a little cute story. So we left off in the first book with Harry finishing up his first year of school at Hogwarts. He made his new friends, Ron and Hermione, and all the adventures with unmasking the truth of the one teacher. Was it Quirrell, Professor Quirrell. We're getting started. I'm assuming we'll either start off at the beginning of the summer, or maybe it'll just kick off at the start of Harry's second year. So let's go ahead and get started with our reading today, and I'll share my thoughts as things stand out to me. Okay, and I'm so glad Ron decided to go and save Harry, because he could have very easily been like, oh man, I thought I was so close with Harry, I thought we were best friends, and Ron had been sending Harry all these letters all summer, but he didn't respond to them, because at the time the book starts, it's about a month until their second year of school at Hogwarts begins. And so yeah, Ron could have easily been like, oh, I guess Harry doesn't want to respond to me. But no, he knew deep down something was wrong, and thankfully he came to save Harry, because the Dursleys literally locked him up in his room, installed bars on the door, on his window. They let him use the bathroom twice a day, otherwise they shoved food through the bars. Like, how crazy is that? Like, Harry needs to call the police, because that's ridiculous. But Harry escaped. He's living with the Weasleys for a bit, and now they are back at Diagon Alley getting their supplies for the second year of school. We have our next appearance of Draco, which, okay, he was really annoying in the first book, but he is so much more rude in the second book. Like, ugh, I hate when people make jokes about poor children. And there's a quote where Draco's talking to Ron, and he says, Ron's like, oh, it's you, Malfoy. Bet you're surprised to see Harry here, huh? And then Malfoy says, not as surprised as I am to see you in a shop, Weasley. I suppose your parents will go hungry for a month to pay for those. Talking about all the books he needs for his second year of school. And that just breaks my heart. It's so sad. Okay, yeah, I get him making fun of Ron, his appearance, or him being in Gryffindor instead of Slytherin, I don't know, but making fun of his parents, it's so sad. I don't like it, but let's continue. Okay, so I'm actually at like 240 something pages, so I only have about 100 left. But before I sit and share all of my thoughts thus far with you, I thought I would get some more of my fuel to carry me going. So of course, water is essential, and then you gotta go for the iced coffee on the side. So let's go ahead and make that before I sit down and talk. Lot to catch you up on with what I've read as I've been going through. I've been adding little post-its here and there, and like I said, I'm at 248, I want to say 248. So let's talk about everything that's been happening. I do want to admit right off the bat, I'm not loving this as much as the first book. It's still very much an easy read. I mean, it was written for children. It is a children's book, so I would hope it would be easy to read. But I mean, it's not unenjoyable, if that makes sense. But I'm not loving it as much. And I think that's because, and I might be wrong, there's still 100 pages left. And there's a lot that gets accomplished in each 100 pages. But I think this book might be more of a setup for more of the other books, because there's less happening like the first book to accomplish like a certain goal in a set time. Like there are obstacles they're facing in this book and challenges, but it doesn't feel like the same intensity as the last one. So overall, that's how I'm feeling. But in terms of where we are so far, so last time I shared, we had met Dobby, who I'm still not loving because of his injuring Harry, but okay, I don't know where this Colin kid is that keeps taking all these pictures of Harry or why he's so obsessed, but he's also getting on my nerves. Of course, as the title implies, we learn about the Chamber of Secrets. Some people claim it's just a myth, but the trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, know there's something more to it, so they want to inquire why all these instances are happening where people are getting frozen or presumably dying and needing to be brought back to life. They know there's something more to it, and so they're trying to dig and conjure up this potion that will allow them to pose as Draco's friends to try and get some information out of him, because the sign that revealed the Chamber of Secrets said that the Slytherin heir would be able to open it. Now Harry's worried. He thinks that he might be the Slytherin heir because back when the Sorting Hat determined his school in the first book, it said that he could have gone to Slytherin and he would do very well. But he could also go to Gryffindor, so that's what he did. So Harry's like, oh no, does that mean I'm really the Slytherin heir? Is that why I was so significant in stopping Voldemort? He's not sure, but he really doesn't want that to be true. And then at the same time wondering if Draco is a Slytherin heir, since Draco's obviously this main, villain on the Slytherin side. Gryffindor versus Slytherin Quidditch team had their big competition. There was, what was it? The Bludger. The Bludger. It kept coming after Harry. I was like, oh, of course it's Draco, which I think is what they want us to, believe. But then it's revealed after Harry gets his arm broken and the one dumb professor makes his bones disappear, or he removes his bones from Harry's arm so his bones are no longer broken. It's revealed that Dobby did it. So I'm really not a Dobby fan right now. He's not doing himself any favors, to say the least. Then the classes continue. There's the dueling club that is started. Snape and Lockhart, they're at it. Lockhart has convinced Snape to help him, and Snape is also not doing any better from the first book. He still is highly suspicious all the time. And so he's always siding with Malfoy. But it's also revealed in the dueling club that Harry is a parcel mouth, so he can talk to snakes, which is interesting. I'm sure it'll come into play much later on. The potion that the trio were trying to conjure up works, so Harry and Ron take it and pretend to be Draco's besties. And so they go into the Slytherin common room and they're like getting information from him, but ultimately it's revealed that he is not the Slytherin heir, Draco. He also doesn't know who it is, and he also doesn't know much about the Chamber of Secrets because his dad will not tell him much. So that's interesting. We'll see who it turns out to be. I don't think it's Harry. I think he's just worried about that, but I don't think it will be. And then now I've gotten to a really juicy part where in the Moaning Myrtle bathroom, Harry finds T.M. Riddle's diary, and then Tom Riddle reveals to him all the information by allowing Harry to like look through the diary in this sort of TV, and then he gets into Tom's memory on the day when he is talking to the person who originally opened the Chamber of Secrets. And who was it? Our beloved Hagrid. That's crazy. In between all this, there's all the cute little things happening, like how Ginny has a crush on Harry, obviously. She sent him a little singing Valentine, which is pretty bold. Like, to know that your Valentine is gonna sing in front of the school and your crush, even though they didn't say who it was from, like, Draco reveals it, and assuming that he's correct, that's pretty bold of her. So shout out to her, especially with her being like younger. I was like, okay. And then Harry doesn't even like say anything about it. So that's kind of funny and sad for Ginny. And one thing that's kind of bugging me, it obviously serves the purpose of the plot, but it is bugging me how every time a new like instance happens where someone's injured, Harry is always like the very first person to discover it, and it's getting kind of old. It's happened like 3 times now, and I wish there had been something different with at least one of them, where maybe like, because he's hearing this mysterious voice that we don't know what it is yet, so maybe like every time he heard the voice, so he started walking that way, or like something, but it's not all tied to like a reason. Like, he just keeps happening to be the first one there, and maybe it's going to be revealed in the future that like, oh, there was a reason he was the first one to find it. But it just gets a little sad. Like, it's kind of annoying because I feel like Harry always gets the worst end of the stick. Like, can nothing ever just go fully right? Like, obviously he doesn't have to worry about being poor anymore like he was at the start of the first book and things like that, but I'm like, dang, like, he's not a bad person. Why does he keep getting such bad luck? I'm sure more will be revealed soon. Alright, it is quite some time later, but I'm finally sitting down to share the rest of my thoughts on the last 100 pages of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Last time we talked, I know I was complaining about Harry being the first one to keep discovering all the instances, and I still feel the same about that after having finished the book. But just to recap on everything that happened in the last 100 pages, it was definitely a lot as I anticipated. So I feel really bad because the school year is progressing, and all the people, including Hermione, who have been affected by, you know, this unknown villain, they've been in there for like almost the whole school year. So I feel really bad. The school year just keeps going by. I don't know if they'll be able to make up the school year, especially Colin, like that boy who was really a fan of Harry. I don't know. We'll see. I was really, really sad when Harry and Ron, they use the invisibility cloak to go to Hagrid's little cottage, and while they're there, Hagrid and Dumbledore both get taken away and removed from the school. So Hagrid goes into Azkaban, the jail, and then Dumbledore is essentially fired by Draco's dad. That was really sad. I was nervous of what that would mean, though, spoiler alert, it just ends up getting resolved pretty easily. But before Hagrid leaves, he gives them the clue to follow the snakes. So they end up finding snakes or going into the forest, finding the snake, who gives them the clue about Moaning Myrtle. They go to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, they discover the sink with the snake imprint in there, and then they enter into the chamber with Lockhart as well. Once they go into the chamber, Lockhart was like trying to get himself out of there because he was obviously very nervous, even after all his bold claims that he'd be able to handle whatever in the chamber, like he'd be able to figure it out. When it comes to it, he lied about everything in his book, so he doesn't actually have any idea. So he was so nervous, he tried to use Ron's wand to cast a spell on the boys, but it ended up backfiring on him, so he kind of like lost his memory because Ron's wand broke when they first went to the school in the flying car. Once Harry goes into the chamber alone, just like the first book, I feel like he has to face everything alone. It's his story, so whatever. So he goes in, and oh, would you know it, Tom Riddle is there looking over Ginny, who is like dying slowly. It seems like her eyes are closed, but she's in some kind of like immobile state. I don't know, but anyways, Tom reveals his true identity. I am Lord Voldemort. So once again, it's back to Voldemort. It'd be kind of nice if there was like a different villain as well, but it's always just Voldemort. Like, I don't know, maybe there's someone who's really bitter about Harry. I guess like the Malfoys are kind of the other villain, but they don't do anything like specifically to Harry. Whatever. That's besides the point. Harry fights Tom to try to help Ginny, and the basilisk comes out of the walls or whatever, the snake. And so with Harry's power, he's able to like talk to it. But then the Sorting Hat and Dumbledore's Phoenix come in to help him. Harry's like, oh great, like I'll really be able to fight this giant snake with a hat and a bird. Like, okay, this is not helpful at all. But then he puts on the hat and out of it falls this sword. And then the phoenix starts flying around and it's poking at the eyes of the snake and it's like making it go blind. But then Tom Riddle's like yelling at it, like, you can still smell Harry, like get him, get him. So all that drama happens. Ultimately, Harry like goes through the mouth of the snake and stabs it. And so he ends up killing it, but while he's doing that, he also gets stabbed by one of its fangs, so then the venom goes into his arm. So there's a brief little moment where it's like, oh no, Harry's gonna die. But then, what do you know, the Phoenix starts like crying on him, and then Tom Riddle reveals like, oh, the Phoenix has healing tears. I should have remembered or something. So it was a little bit of an easy fix, but can't have Harry dying at only the second book in the series. In order to get rid of Voldemort this time, Harry takes the sword and he stabs it into Tom Riddle's diary, and it's kind of like the ink starts flowing out of the pages. So Tom Riddle just seemingly disappears again, and who knows what really happens to him, just like last time. So then the story wraps up pretty quickly from there. All the people who were in that trance by Voldemort are out of it. You know, Ginny is okay, Hermione is fine, everyone is okay. Dumbledore and Hagrid are fine, they're released from wherever they were, and you know, they return to the school and everything's fine. And Lucius Malfoy, Draco's father, who was kind of a governor of Hogwarts, was removed from his position because at the beginning of the story, when they were all at Diagon Alley and Lucius was kind of messing with Ginny, he took one of her books and then like gave it back to her. So then I think Harry's the one who's like, that's when you put Tom Riddle's diary in Ginny's books. Because this whole time it was revealed that Ginny had been communicating with Voldemort and like sharing the inside scoop with him. And she was the one who was perpetrating all these crimes under his kind of spell. So she didn't actually realize it was her. So yeah, all that crazy stuff is revealed. Everyone knows that Ginny's truly innocent. And then of course, Mrs. Weasley's like, didn't I tell you not to talk to people in diaries or something? I forget the funny line that she says. And then at the end, similar to last time, Dumbledore and Harry have a nice conversation about how they, will persevere. Overall, I still stand by the thoughts I shared before, where I feel like this book is more of a setup for future books. We know at this point that Voldemort keeps coming back, that it wasn't just like a clean ending of, Harry eliminating the diary and then Voldemort's gone. Like, that's pretty clear that that's not what that means, but that there will be more to accomplish. This book, it kind of made me more sad for Harry. I felt like he had more victories in the first book, but this one, he kind of just didn't have that many, and the resolution was pretty quick, honestly. I wish there was more description given to the actual like battle scene in the end with the snake, as opposed to more just like random scenes throughout the school year. I think since it is a children's book, I understand why each book is kind of like a start and an end of a certain obstacle that they're facing. Though I think that there could probably be a better job done to helping the series go along. So of course I'll read the next one and see how it goes, but I don't think I would rate this one a 5-star. I'm kind of honestly leaning between like a 2-star or a 3-star. And I say that just because I don't know if I would want to read this one again. Like, it was kind of just meh. So yeah, I don't know. Now that I've read it, I want to go and look up where this book stands in terms of like people's favorites of the series. My guess is gonna be that this is one of the lower ones. But yeah, thanks for watching anyway. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're inclined. Otherwise, I'll see you in a video very soon.